All right. Welcome back, everyone, to week 2 of the Teacup for One Summer Movie Marathon. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees. And the theme of this month, it's pretty obvious. It's summer movies. And what does that mean? Who knows? It's a movie that just kind of gives you summer vibes. It's a movie that takes place during the summer. It's a movie that's about the summer. So how fitting that today's film is a movie that takes place in a less than 12-hour span, really, on the last day of school for a bunch of I was going to say high schoolers, but there's even some younger than high schoolers, like kids who are going to go into high school. So we are watching tonight the coming of age film, Dazed and Confused. It's a Richard Linklater classic that I have now seen for the very first time. I'm familiar with Richard Linklater. I do love pretty well everything I've seen by Richard Linklater, and that might even include this movie, but yeah, I didn't know what to expect. We're going to dive into it, though. But before we do, let's see who we have joining us today in the chat. Looks like we've got the usual suspects, some might say. It's my cat, Sabrina. Sabrina says she might watch our show tonight, but she didn't watch the movie. It's true. Sabrina did not join me to watch this film. Eliza says she also didn't watch the movie. She hadn't heard about it until today. She might watch our show. She has nothing else to do. Eliza did sleep most of today. So that tracks. And it's my mom. She didn't watch the movie either. Maybe we will convince her that she should. You know, it's interesting. I actually feel like this is a movie that might potentially be right up the alley of both my mom and people generally around her age. I didn't realize that Dazed and Confused was a period piece, and it is. Dazed and Confused, wait, what's the year? Dazed and Confused. It takes place in 1976. Now, it was made in 1993. So, you had that fun, roughly 20-year gap, or less than 20 years, but almost 20-year gap. Just enough time to give you a little bit of nostalgia and just enough time to really have you look back on what that era was, what the aesthetics were, what the general vibes were, and just sort of celebrate them. And so I feel like this movie really is a celebration of the period, especially when it comes to the music. So that's something that we'll get into today. But first, let's bring our first guest for this evening. It's Teacup for One favorite. It's Jeanette, everybody. Hi, Jeanette. Oh, you're muted.
I am. Hello.
Welcome. So are you dazed or confused tonight? Are you more dazed or more confused?
Hopefully more dazed. Okay. I love to feel more dazed.
Good.
Confused has negative connotations. So
it does. Well, actually, no, my official opening question for today, I just came up with it, but it's a very good one. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite last day of school memory?
Oh, God. Oh my gosh.
Least favorite, but most memorable last day of school.
Okay. I believe it was the last day of school. If not, it was very close. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was, I believe it had to be junior year, not senior year, because senior year was a whole different scene. So junior year, we got out of school and we went to a place called, and we all got into 1 or 2 big SUVs because, again, at that time, only 1 or 2 people drove. Right. That's how it was, as is told in this film. Right. What a perfect little So we got in that. And then we went to a place called Cuco's, which was a Mexican restaurant where you could watch them make the tortillas, and they went out on the little machine and you could sit outside. But it was on a highway. It wasn't on a beach or anything. It was just on a main road. So and we all, of course, paid we all brought our own money and split the check 20 ways and all of that. And and on the way there at the time, what was very funny was Cheerios commercials where they said, "I lowered my cholesterol, blah, blah, blah." And we just made little signs that and we held it up to people in cars next to us. I don't know why we thought that was funny. I lowered my cholesterol. And then the next window was by eating Cheerios. And yeah.
I think that's funny. I respect that.
Yeah. So that was a really great memory. I like that one. We got non-alcoholic margaritas. We thought we were really cool.
Nice. So is junior year grade 11? We don't really have those terms. Maybe we do in Canada, but at least I've never dealt with them.
It's 11. 12 was graduation was more like this movie. It was more like that. This was a beautiful, innocent, sweet little memory.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I had very tame last day of school experiences compared to this movie. The closest I came to in high school to something like this movie would have been cast parties after musicals or school plays.
There you go.
School. Yeah.
I think everybody's got a relation to this movie, no matter where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the middle school kids, the high school kids, the juniors, the seniors, whatever, the parents. I don't know. Like, you know?
No, there is definitely, I think, an access point for everyone. But yeah, I was gonna say, I'm trying to think. I feel this isn't even that memorable, but the last day of school that is cemented in my brain the most as being the most transformative for the most basic reason. I think it was grade 8, last day of school. We went bowling. Our school took us bowling, and the bowling was fine. The bowling was fun. But at the bowling alley during like lunch or mealtime or whatever, I still am a notoriously picky eater, but even more so was as a youngster. And so everything that I ate had to be like plain. So anytime I got fries, it was just fries. But one of my friends got fries with gravy, and one of them got a poutine, and they let me try them. And trying fries with gravy for the first time was life changing. But trying my very first poutine, it shook my world. I can't
Yay!
express to you how, like, I was sitting there in this bowling alley thinking, cheese, fries, gravy. I feel like
I love that that's your bowling alley food. That makes me so happy. We have cheese fries. We just have like literally like American cheese or like shredded cheese melted on fries.
melted fries, nice.
But
Well, is
but
it like
you
the yellow
like
cheese
that's
sauce like at
amazing.
Disney? Is it yellow?
Yeah, or even some places it's nacho cheese. Like it's
Nice.
crazy.
I
But
mean,
like, yeah.
I'm
I
in a
love that
nacho
that's
cheese
the
phase right now. Like, that's probably what I would pick. If I had the option between a poutine, like today, at a bowling alley, or like chips with delicious cheese sauce, like nacho cheese sauce, I'd probably go for the nacho cheese sauce.
I can
But
do white queso. I can't do nacho cheese sauce. But
really, so
I
good.
love how I think I love how this ties in because they do spend a lot of time at an arcade with
Yeah.
like all these different, like they're getting the hot dogs and all that.
Oh,
Oh, love
summertime
it.
food,
Oh,
sketchy summertime food from like arcade or like a farmer's market. Like, it
I
hits
spent so
different.
much time at arcades, like literally at this age. This whole thing is
You
just
had
beyond.
arcades? I feel like we
Yes.
didn't have arcades.
We had beautiful arcades and we had a place called Game Club that
Right.
like I think if you filmed the front of it, it would be the early 2000s version of this.
That's amazing. So, like, did
Yeah.
you just play games a la carte, or like was it a
There
ticket
were
situation with
arcade games, there
prizes?
were pool tables, there was Pump and
Ooh,
DDR. There
nice.
was, yeah, I played Pump a lot. I went there to play Pump. I played Guilty Gear. Yeah, Skee Ball.
Skee ball, classic. I forgot
Yeah.
about DDR. That was such a thing.
Yeah, I was a Pump
Actually, yeah.
kid. I fought with the DDR kids, but it was fine.
Did they
But
dance?
I
Did
mean,
you have a
but
dance
I'm
off?
saying like it's like an early 2000s thing of this. I mean, I started thinking about it on this rewatch. I was like, it's a lot like Game Club.
So wait, what was the game you played? I don't think I've heard of that game. I only know DDR.
Guilty Gear X was it's like it's this, I don't know, I can't find it anywhere. I'm sure I'm crazy and somebody's gonna chime in and be like, this is where you can find Guilty Gear. But like yeah, it was just a bunch of wild characters. Like one was based on Faust. And like there's another one that's like was like a transgender character before that was a thing. Yeah, just wild characters, really cool fighting moves. I was a fighting game person. I was Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, like I was in there. So
Nice. Yeah, the one fighting game I played was the Simpsons arcade game, which was actually in Florida during a
Aaron loves that
family
game.
trip. Yes, there was a family trip to, I think it was Orange Lake was the resort we were staying at. They had a really good arcade and a pizza parlor. So yeah, when I was let loose to my own devices, it was usually playing the Simpsons game and then eating pizza. So
Yeah,
good
man.
times. Yeah, speaking of fun, crazy characters, let's bring in Vince. Hi, Vince.
It's
Hey
Vince.
everyone, how's it going? Are you hearing me?
I'm
We're
hearing you.
hearing you
All
great.
right. Okay, well, I've got something to say.
Okay, go.
That Simpsons arcade game you're talking about is one of the best video games of all time.
No,
Everybody
really?
loves that game.
Oh, yeah, that's spectacular for its time and even standalone. It's spectacular. Cream of the crop.
So happy people know it and remember it. I'm not a huge gamer, but it's good to know that like the one good gaming experience I have, it was like one of the best. So
Yeah, arcade wise, we're trying to get it. We have arcade games. We're trying to get Simpsons.
You have arcade
I don't know if
games?
it's that one, but we're trying to get a Simpsons game. I know he wants a Simpsons game. Yeah,
Which
we have.
games do you have?
We have a Star Wars pinball. Marvel vs. Capcom, Terminator 2, a mini Pac-Man, and I feel like I'm forgetting something, but no, I think that's it.
Does Terminator 2 come with a gun? Like, what?
Yeah, it's the little red and blue guns, and
Oh my
I
God.
would not let Aaron buy it until Nola was older. I was like, no way we're having anything that resembles a gun in this house until she has the concept of that's a fake gun, not a real gun.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we have it. We have it though. It's right outside this room.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome. Maybe I think that's my new life goal. Get an arcade. Get just one cool, fun arcade game. Maybe Simpsons. Maybe not yet.
They're good. They have a Simpsons one. It's just hard to get. They sell out as soon as they get them.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Just knowing now that it's the best one. But anyway, Vince, were you with us? Did you hear what the opening questions were?
Yeah, and I'm feeling a little more dazed than confused on this fine evening.
Good.
Yeah.
Consensus. Now, tell us about your favorite last day of school memory.
I think we got to go all the way back to 2008 for this. I was in grade 11.
But okay.
Yeah, I know. But it's almost like the difference between now and my high school is almost the same as Richard Linklater and how old he was when he's like.
I know it's painful to think about the time difference.
Yeah, I think he was 16 in 1976. So it's interesting. But okay, my favorite end of school memory. Okay. There was a thing called Paul Fest because this guy named Paul Burry, who I think is a lawyer now and is a very good man.
Good.
His parents were away and he had this he lived at this fancy mansion in the rich part of Scarborough. And oh my God, it was a hell of a party. And we called it Paul Fest for him because he didn't have a good name for it.
Perfect.
And
has it evolved? Has it become an annual thing, Paul Fest?
Oh no, it was a one-off. It could never be replicated.
That's a one-time thing. I can hear that and tell you that's a one-time.
But I remember that day when the school let out, we all got out and my buddy tried to use this fake ID, but it wasn't a fake ID. It was a real ID that he found in a guy's wallet. And he looked nothing like him. And you have this 18-year-old guy who's trying to look like a 28-year-old guy, and it's not working. But somehow, after I think maybe the third beer store we went to, he walked out with a keg, like a little mini keg. And it was great. It was fantastic. But we had to go to another one and pick up another one because he was afraid to buy too much. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent.
That's the thing that cracks me up about these movies is that people are always trying to buy beer, and I'm like, why are you not buying alcohol? That seems easier and more price efficient. Just
excellent
saying.
point.
No, beer is more of the novelty, though.
Jungle Juice sounds way easier. Just saying.
Now, Vince, Mark would like you to elaborate on the rich part of Scarborough.
Yes. I want to say the Rouge Valley area. You have some $1 million homes along the Rouge Valley.
A brothel.
At one point in history, there were many a brothel along the Rouge River.
Valley.
But poor in 1954, many of these brothels were knocked out by Hurricane Hazel.
Hey, sounds like a New Orleans story. So.
Oh yeah.
The mayor of Mississauga, she knocked down all of the brothels?
Well, she gets her nickname from this massive hurricane that wiped out a lot of the greater Toronto area back in 1954.
Really? Okay. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just because she was a hurricane of a human. No, that makes more sense, though.
He said near the zoo.
Somewhere.
Is it near the zoo?
It is near the zoo.
Sounds right. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the zoo. What a good time. It's so much walking for so little animals. Like they have animals, but you have to walk.
Sounds like the DC Zoo.
It sounds like what?
The DC Zoo.
Oh, I thought you said the Disney Zoo. I was like, Animal Kingdom?
No, God. No. I would never say that.
Yeah, my last memory of going to the zoo was walking uphill on a very steady, painful incline for maybe a half hour and seeing no animals. And I walked all that way just because I wanted to see raccoons. That's what it was. I walked
That's
to the Canada.
literally the DC Zoo.
Yeah, I just wanted
Literally a giant hill.
yeah, just a giant hill. I want to go back though to see the raccoons again because
Like-
they hissed at me. It was fun.
Hang on, you went to see the raccoons?
Why not?
You could see those in your backyard.
No, you can't. They always run away. If they're like raccoons are horrible.
Oh, you want
to look at one?
you want to see the ones that are incarcerated.
Exactly. And the really funny thing is that when I finally found the raccoon pit, like you just looked down at them, they looked up at me. They looked kind of feral and angry.
A raccoon.
Hissing at me. Oh yeah. They were hissing at me because they knew I was engaged. And I kind of got the vibe that if they really wanted to, they could have climbed up and got me. They weren't that deep down. But I almost wonder if they dug a
They
hole.
can do anything. Raccoons can do anything. They're mean.
You're fortunate to have made it out of there alive, Matt.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, Mark says, I have my high school girlfriend. I gave my high school girlfriend a piggyback up that hill. Oh, that's nice. At the zoo?
Good memories in Scarborough. Only in Scarborough.
That's just walking that without carrying a human being.
And some regular dad. That's such a thing.
Nice.
And it's so weird.
What, dad approval?
Dads with high school girlfriends. It's weird.
Mm,
I don't know. That's a thing.
creepy.
Creepy.
Who like Wooderson?
Like
Just that look of approval thing. It's totally a thing. I'm just saying. It's weird.
oh, wow. Fun. All right, let's talk about this movie. I felt like, was there something else I wanted to? No, whatever. Let's talk about Dazed and Confused. Here we are. So, Dazed and Confused. I think I'm the only person who had never seen this movie, correct? You had both seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So, no, I'll give my opening statement. Actually, before we give our opening statements, this is something that I did a while ago for this show that I want to bring back. I want to give everyone 30 seconds each to just describe this movie. For those who might not be familiar, just give you have a 30 seconds on the clock to give your synopsis of what happens in this film. Let's start with Jeanette. Jeanette, you have 30 seconds. I'm going to get the timer going. Hold on. Okay. Your time starts now. 30 seconds, go.
Okay, Matt said coming of age. That's true. However, it is a focused film on middle school to high school, stoner flick, girl flick, guy flick, fighting, drama, not focused on a relationship, unlike other teen movies. Some relationships enough to make you care. Very interesting characters. Whole movie's character development.
5 seconds.
That's what makes me like it. And I think it speaks to everyone.
And time. All right, Vince, your turn. Go.
It's a slice of life ensemble piece about, coming of age in the 1970s, about, young people forced to confront the hard truths of reality, and them trying to escape it. They're trying to conquer time, to solidify this single moment that exists in the mid 1970s, and it'll never exist again. God damn it! Am I over?
No, you had like 1 second left to go when you said "God damn it." So
nice.
All right. Well, yeah. Here, my turn. Not to repeat what was said, but yes, coming of age movie, 1970s. Richard Linklater, great soundtrack, good ensemble film. A bunch of actors who would later on become big deals, and some who played more prominent characters that surprisingly didn't. That I thought maybe even gave more engaging performances than the ones who eventually became super famous. Seeds of future Linklater projects strewn all over the place, and Parker Posey doing what she does best. Being Parker Posey. There we are. Okay.
Which one's Parker Posey?
She's the horrible one.
The real snotty girl, the brunette.
Oh,
the
one who keeps saying the B
the
word.
The one who's saying "You've got mail."
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's also in The House of Yes, which is a personal favorite film of mine that I don't think very many people have seen.
We should review it sometime.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I just remembered that, Vince, you did not go to Cothra. I associate with you with Cothra because of Lisa, but
right. No, yeah. I'm an East End boy, unfortunately.
Shame.
East End boys. I don't know.
Yeah, but when I was in grade 9 for the Sears Drama Festival, a bunch of the grade 12s did this play, The House of Yes. It's very racy and not really appropriate for high schoolers, but
Ah.
it's so good. It's so everyone should watch House of Yes. I'll program it somehow during
Yeah.
presidential election movie month. That's when it should show up.
Right on.
Do
We
it.
we did Chicago, and looking back, we probably shouldn't have.
Oh, I mean, on this topic of conversation, my high school did Streetcar Named Desire, which
Oh,
should definitely not be done by teenagers.
yeah,
They
really.
kept everything in there. They
Oh,
kept in the scene
no.
where Stanley like undresses and advances on Blanche. She takes the bottle and she's like, "Get away from me!" Like they did that. They had two
That's-
18-year-olds do that scene.
Hey, at least they were 18.
Yeah. Sure.
Damn.
Good times. Yeah, art school, fun times. So yeah, Dazed and Confused. I guess since I'm brand new to it, my first impression of this movie is that it's not what I expected it to be at all. I don't know what I expected, but I went into it kind of knowing that it had been prefaced as a stoner film. I just kind of knew of it by reputation in that context, and it wasn't what I don't know. When I think of stoner films, I don't think of movies like this per se. I think of more wacky films like Big Lebowski or like Dude, Where's My Car? Or things that get like a little bit more out of the box, as it were, as opposed to like a third act that's here's a bunch of people that are engaging and having a good time with the stoneringness. And yeah, it was more character driven than I thought it would be. There wasn't much of a plot, which normally would annoy me, but just this is kind of the thing with me and Richard Linklater films, is that they're movies on paper I wouldn't normally like, but usually I do. And for the most part, this was no exception. So there we go. Opening statement. Vince, tell us about your history with this movie, the first time that you watched it, if you recall.
You know, back in the 2000s, you know, I was just a young buck, you know, coming of age myself as a young teen, you know, becoming a not so young teen and beyond, evolving into the man you see before you today.
What a good evolution it was.
Oh yeah. I've come a long way. And every time I watch this film, I'm like, this is interesting. I have a different perspective on it. You know, the older I get, I identify with different characters, you know. But I guess the first time I watched this, I watched it on VHS.
It feels like a movie that should be enjoyed on VHS.
Yes. Yeah. Very much like, what's that one about the groupies and the band?
Almost Famous?
Almost Famous. That's another one that feels like it should only be VHS.
Agreed.
Then I watched it again on DVD, and now here I am watching it on Netflix. And it's interesting as the ages come along.
Y'all did it on Netflix in Canada?
Yeah.
Our
That's
Netflix
not fair. I
Our
had to pay
Netflix
for
is so
this.
good.
I had to pay for this ish.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Him too.
Anyway,
Hey,
carry on. Sorry. I was like, wait, what?
It's a double-edged sword. It cuts both ways. You know, you've got some cool stuff. I'm sure you've got the original Star Trek films on Paramount Plus. We do not, and that breaks my heart.
Oh no.
But yeah, you know, I never thought about watching this movie before I smoked my first joint in high school. And then after I smoked my first joint in high school, and I'm not going to disclose how many I've smoked since, but this is a film that I felt I should watch. Despite that, I wouldn't characterize it as a stoner film. Kind of like what you were saying, Matt. Stoner film, it almost has a negative connotation to it. You know, it feels like it's only limited to comedy. And in this case, maybe negative isn't the right word, but it seems like it's a box that this film doesn't deserve to be in. You know, this is just showing life as it was in those days in a small town in Texas, based on Linklater's experience. And it just so happens a lot of these kids are smoking a ton of pot. So
which just also feels appropriate to the time period. I mean, I wasn't there in the 70s, but if I'm assuming that there was a lot of it based on movies.
I feel like while the weed might be very present in this film, it's never really the focus, and it's never really lingered upon, except that one scene where it doesn't make sense to me, but they're smoking a ton of pot in this guy's bedroom, and the dad comes in And what, they blew a little bit of spray around and this guy's not going to smell it? Come on.
I mean, I feel like he knew and he didn't care, but the beer was where he drew the line.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
It's like back in the old days,
That
we'd
guy.
be like, oh, just smoke a cigarette. It'll mask the scent. No, you just smell like marijuana and cigarettes now. So,
Victoria's Secret body spray.
yeah.
Mark brings up a good point. It would hurt his heart to watch a stoner tragedy.
Imagine,
it's gotta be made.
Seth Rogen, Romeo and Juliet. Just,
Actually, watching this movie, it made me.
I
think
would eat
Romeo
that
and
up.
Juliet.
I can't.
Yeah.
I would eat it up. Better. What is it? Sausage Party, Romeo and Juliet.
Oh my gosh.
Just saying. Yeah, as far as Seth Rogen. But yeah, so I watched this movie at some point in middle school, in late middle school, like 8th grade.
Young.
And so like I identified with the younger kids. Just being like, oh my God, I'm about to go to high school. And the high school literally cut off the hazing stuff the year before we got there. So I was both equally relieved and pissed off. So I was like, dang, at the same time, great, not going to happen to me. I don't have to worry, whatever. At the time, there were still senior pranks senior year. They cut those off. We did them anyway. But like, they're official sanctioned, whatever. Anyway, it ticked me off because they would cut stuff off like the year before we got there. And I'd seen this movie and it made me so excited for it and also so scared. The hazing stuff wasn't some of it wasn't as crazy. Some of it was like the eggs were a thing. I don't know what's with eggs. School things, there's eggs always. I don't know why. It takes paint off things. It sticks to your body. I don't know.
I always thought the eggs thing was just because it's such a nightmare to clean up, especially when the sun comes out.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's just part of, like, I don't know why, but that was part of it too. But I watched it. I don't know. I grew up with this whole image. So this was before I myself had imbibed, and then I did. And like, I don't know. We used to like, there's this whole culture in like the late 90s, early 2000s of like hearkening back to not necessarily hippie stuff, but like this push that like Cheech and Chong also did of like this push for legalization and visibility and all of that. So it became this whole movement for like me and my friends. Like that was a thing. We really pushed for it. And like, I feel like I personally feel highly validated at this point in my life at 37 years old because it's like, here we are. Yay. We actually did something they haven't reversed. Great. So like, I don't know, this has a lot of places in my heart. There's a lot of actors in this I love who were in other things I love. I just, acting in general in this movie, I think is key and quintessential. And I don't know. I love everything about this movie. I think it's a period piece. However, it also speaks to the 90s again with like what they were looking at and trying to focus on. It was an emboldening. I kept identifying with different people throughout my life.
Nice. Well, yeah, I wanted to ask. Well, maybe we'll hear now. I'll ask now. Does it read any different to you now that you're a parent watching it with like the whole parent dynamics where they're like catching the kids and they're like, no, we're not going on vacation now. No beer.
No,
or like
that I would not.
You the sunset once and that's it.
I would not be like that. I don't think my daughter's 11 going on 12, so I guess maybe I can't say yet, but like I don't think I'll be that extreme just because like we are where we are. It is legal here, so like I presume that guy was 18. If he wasn't 18, I don't know, like obviously his parents weren't cool with it.
Yeah. So,
you're still living there. That's the rules, man. But like, I don't foresee myself having not being like super free, like do whatever you want, whatever day of the week. But like at the same time, I don't see me being that. I will say that character that you're talking about, what's his name? Freaking, I keep wanting to say his name's Chris, but it may
Mitch?
not be Chris.
No, Mitch is the younger.
Pickford.
Oh,
That's it. Uh,
Which one's
I don't know if-
Pickford?
the guy in the white shirt that like has Mila Jovovich as a girlfriend, the girl that's in the corner of the screen.
Oh, okay.
That's his girlfriend.
Yes.
That I don't know if either of you are familiar with Incubus, the band, but when we used to watch this movie, we used to just call him Brandon Boyd because he looks like the lead singer of Incubus, and so we just like I would just call him Brandon Boyd because that's the guy's name from Incubus. So that was another thing. Like I have like weird connections to this film that it's tied into things that it shouldn't be tied into for me. I don't know. It's weird.
It's fun. Fun. Oh, well, there's something I wanted to touch on. It's gone now. Oh no, I kind of remember. One thing that I mean, first off, I think the film has aged really nicely. It doesn't feel dated, like either to the 90s or even to the 70s. Even though I know it wasn't made in the 70s, but it feels universal enough, which I really appreciated. And I loved how I feel going into most movies like this, especially where generational disconnect is kind of a thing. I feel like I usually assume that one side is going to be a little bit too extreme. Like the kids will either be way too wild or the parents will be too conservative. But for the most part, I was like, I feel like everyone here is pretty reasonable. Like nothing, like maybe making the athlete sign the contract is like a little extreme. But
that's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Like that's
get it.
Every time I watch it, I think that, and then I'm like, no, that's totally a sign of the times. It's hilarious because she says, well, they'll be piss testing us next. And it's like, they do that now in high schools. Like,
and like that scene with the coach towards the end when he was saying, like, do you want to throw away your future for them? I'm there. I'm like, he's not totally wrong. He's not totally wrong. He's a little extreme, but like
it's
he's
not
Grease.
Wrong. Nobody's like there's caricatures of people, but there's also like, I mean, Slater's a caricature. He's also not, because I totally knew like 3 of that person.
Which one's Slater?
Like, the guy in the other corner of the screen.
Okay.
Not Mila Jovovich.
Check you later, man.
Like, I probably was that guy at some point. Like, at some higher level in my life, like, I probably was Slater. It's I've been both of the people on the screen. I like what I'm saying. Like, this film speaks to so many different things, and I think you're right. Nobody's really so unbelievable.
Yeah. That's one of the things that really stood out and that I appreciate. And I think it comes back to just what I said earlier, that usually with Richard Linklater movies, they're not films that normally I would be that engaged by, but I almost always am. He does those slice of life things that are character driven so extremely well. And I mean, I think my favorite is still the Ethan Hawke and the I can't remember her name, Julie Depley series, the Before series, Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Midnight. Like, have we all seen those?
No.
I have not, but I understand that it's a very good trilogy.
It's an incredible trilogy. It's very similar kind of to this, except it's condensed because it's really just the 2 of them. And each film takes place over a really short period of time, like 12 hours or less. And it's just people interacting. And it's so captivating for reasons I can't really describe, aside from it's just very good character-driven narrative storytelling. And like I think this is one of Linklater's first movies, and it's just fascinating to me that for the most part, he seemingly tapped into what he was passionate about and really good at, and he just kept growing from there. So that's cool. But unrelated to that, I want to go back to the hazing. I didn't realize high school hazing was a thing. Since when?
Was it a thing for either of you?
Do we have?
You know what? It was before my time, but my sister has fond memories of the high school hazing stuff.
Hazing?
Yeah,
she thought it was just a university thing.
Yeah, I asked for her, some fond memories, and she was telling me she forced these 2 grade 9s to run around the track with marshmallows under their armpits, and then it made them eat them.
Yeah. That's where we were at that point in history.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't as serious. It wasn't nearly as bad.
That's pretty bad.
I will say, like, that when I don't know if it was middle school or high school, but I remember one of the schools when I got there, they still had paddles on the walls, like in the office.
Paddling was a thing?
Wow.
Oh, for sure.
Oh no.
Yeah, like that's not made up. I mean, that's not. They didn't make that up for this movie. That's for real. They still had them on the walls. People weren't doing that when I got there. It was like eggs and toilet paper and Sharpies, crap like that, and like running around in like a diaper or something stupid like that. But yeah, I didn't get to do it. So, but yes, it was very fresh. It was very still like definitely still going on in colleges. Like this was during the whole like shutting down phase of that stuff. So yeah, I was getting into the age when they were shutting all of this down.
Yeah, I definitely know it was being shut down when I was going into like post-secondary, into college and university. But yeah, high school, it wasn't on my radar. And another thing that really stood out to me was getting the perspective of girls hazing each other, which is, well, again, hazing in general is kind of foreign to me in terms of life experience. But I feel like we don't see it in movies.
It's more degrading than it is physically like hurtful. It's not painful. It's very degrading, and that's what the female ones are. Yeah.
Yeah, Parker Posey was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you,
there's girls that are just like that in life too.
I feel like I could live with Ben Affleck spanking me with a paddle, but it being degraded in getting covered in ketchup and mustard all between my fingers, I don't want that.
Let me just throw this out there. I would take Parker Posey degrading me with ketchup and mustard. I would probably pay for that. Whereas you could not pay me to get spanked by Ben Affleck. I'm just saying.
Oh, it looked so painful too.
What if he was dressed up as Batman at the time?
Oh God, even worse, Batfleck. Oh no, I would pay you to go away. I would pay you to leave me alone.
Oh my gosh. Love it. So we're kind of moving into this territory, but let's talk about the cast and the characters. Was there a specific character? No, let's talk about characters first, and then I want to talk about the people who played them, because that's kind of a separate topic of conversation. But is there a specific character that resonated with you on this rewatch specifically, since I know both of you are more familiar with it? Yeah, I'm still processing all of it. But if you had to pick one that you found particularly engaging for any specific reason, who would it be?
I mean, my heartthrob, I realized on this rewatch, no matter what time in history I watch this, the person that I find like is my crush is Joey Lauren Adams.
Oh, I was scared you were going to say Matthew McConaughey, because he's creepy in this movie.
Oh no, never.
Yeah.
Never a day in my life. No, Joey Lauren Adams. And Jason London's like kind of been touch here and there. In high school, Slater was here and there for me. Honestly, most times I identify with Slater. And it is not necessarily because of what he does, but also what he says. Like, I am that person that's just spouting useless knowledge because I am bored and nobody else is talking. So I will just do that. So that I identify with Slater pretty much like most times of my life.
I hear what you're saying. When I first watched this, I certainly identified with him the most, and that rings true to this day. I like his attitude. He gets deep at times, and maybe he can cut back on the pot a bit. I'm sure he does that later in life, and he's probably holding down a great job as we speak. Who I really appreciated on this recent view was the guy in the plaid shirt who punched the guy in the face, and then he got his clocks cleaned, and his fantastic line, "I want to be a dancer." I think he had more of a character arc than some of the other characters.
Yes,
and I never really noticed that until
he and his friend remind me so much of my guy friends in high school. Like him and his redheaded friend, like that was my crew. Like I feel like those were the people I knew. For real,
Anthony Rapp. Did you guys know that was Anthony Rapp? Exactly. I had no idea.
Yes, Anthony Rapp. Well, he's my answer for my most engaging character. I guess basically the duo of those two, because
Yeah.
I don't know, they're probably the closest to who I was around that age and or who I would have hung out with. Similar to what you said, Jeanette. And yeah, just the fact that it's Anthony Rapp and it's Mark from Rent gave him bonus points. Yeah.
I would also say that the girl that was with them, I would love to know if there was anything cut, because I feel like she was supposed to have more of a storyline. I feel on this rewatch, just thinking about like the movie, how it was made up and like cuts and like literally trying to think about it from that point of view, because I never had before. I was like, I feel like she had more of a story at some point, because she feels like she plays a bigger role at the end. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, and it's a little dissatisfying and worrisome, because like where we leave her, she's like about to start dating Matthew McConaughey, and that's not good. I hope she's okay.
Let me point out too, though, that Anthony Rapp, in the end, after we're all freaked out about Matthew McConaughey and everybody else and the age differences here and there, that's the couple that is a graduating senior and an incoming freshman. At the end of the movie. Okay, so he ends up being, if you want to view it from I have no problem with that, because I live that life. I'm just saying, like,
now
if we're gonna pick pins and needles here, like that's
absolutely
at the end the biggest age gap.
Hang on, a 3 or 4 year gap, that's fair. But with Matthew McConaughey, we're kind of led to believe he's in his 20s, right? Until the very end, where he reveals that like he went to high school with the cop who like kicks them out of the stadium, and that guy looks like he's 40.
Yeah, you can't tell though.
He's got that throwaway line.
They're all 28 to 35.
So McConaughey, what if he's just like, what if he's been wearing a toupee for 3 years, and he's been saying, he's been celebrating his 29th birthday for 5 years now.
Yeah,
it's like,
dude, that's what I'm telling you. Oh my God, the Matthew McConaughey character. There were guys outside of this place, Game Club, this arcade, that would quote that character unironically, like he was the coolest guy. They would stand outside of this arcade and be like, they keep getting younger and I stay the same age, or whatever, like they stay the same age, I keep getting whatever, like they would say that stuff. So yeah, I mean, like this thing influenced a lot of people, maybe in not the greatest way. Because much like Fight Club, people don't know like who is supposed to be ironic and funny, and not like you're not supposed to idolize this person.
Right.
Wow, I didn't realize so many McConaugheyisms came from this movie, or maybe just the all right.
But also it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah.
So that's the only line that
That is a good line.
That's my favorite, and it's specifically for that situation. Like, I love that answer.
Yeah.
So why do we think his character's in this movie? What is he there to add?
He's the creepy older guy that hangs out with high schoolers.
I think 100%. Yeah. I think 100% that's a person who was in Linklater's life during his teen years.
Yeah.
Just the guy who hangs out and like he's buddies with all the seniors, and then the next year he's also buddies with the seniors.
And he talks to the freshman girls.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like, do you think he's
that's
there
a guy? That's a real guy.
In the context of the movie, I guess, knowing that these types of people exist, not in my high school experience. I think I was just very sheltered with the art school thing. Yeah, there was also no bullying. There was just really passive aggressive art being made about people. But either way, do we think he's portrayed in this movie to be more of like, cautionary tale? This is not who we want these younger characters to grow up to be. We want to be aware of someone like this, or is it really just, do we think Linklater's perspective was he's just there?
I think he's just there.
Yeah, I think the way he's written, it's very neutral. Like he's there, and it's up to the actor to decide how he portrays it. And then McConaughey turns him into this guy who's kind of idolized by the underbelly of society.
He played it about as medium and neutral as I think you could do. Like, I'm not a huge McConaughey fan, but I also don't hate him. He's wonderful in a lot of what he does. this role, and I thought that on this rewatch, I was like, he's skeezy, but he's not evil. I don't feel like he's taking, like, he does pick like the very mature senior chick. He doesn't like run off with the freshman or something. Like, he is with like the presumably 18-year-old girl, you know, like, I will say, I mean, if he's supposed to be like, I don't know, let's give him a range of, let's say he's supposed to be 23 to 28. Sure. Can we say that? I don't think he's supposed to be over 30.
I'd say 25. I would guess 20. If I had to pick a number, I'd guess 25.
I think I would put the range a little wider. I say it's possible he's in his 30s.
Okay.
Ugh.
Let me say this. Let me just feed into this story a little bit of this skeezy guy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When I was 19, I dated a guy who told me he was 23. When we went to the store to buy alcohol, his ID said he was 28. Why someone would lie about not being 30 but not being, like, it wasn't a difference of buying alcohol, like, I'm just saying, like, there's a weird range. There's a very strange range of age where it is more weird if you're 5 years older, but also like just as weird as if you're, you know what I mean? It's a weird, that's what I find so interesting about this character, is a lot of it is dependent upon that. And he hangs out with them a lot, but he is with the seniors mainly. I think it's at the arcade scene where we see he's interacting with sophomores and freshmen and things.
Yeah, it's not like he's hanging out like in front of the school. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, he might have a restraining order when it comes to the school, though.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. Where is Dazed and Confused 2?
Netflix needs to make an 8-part miniseries. It's a backstory.
Oh my God!
Confused and Dazed.
Can you imagine if they got all of these actors back? Can you imagine Mila Jovovich, Ben Affleck, freaking what's his name? I can't remember Slater's character's name. Jason London, who is still acting. I didn't know that Jason London's still acting. Everybody, oh my God!
Apparently, Renee Zellweger's in this movie too.
Who is?
Renee Zellweger.
Oh yeah.
So they say.
Is she in this?
I don't think she speaks.
Oh.
On the Wikipedia page. She's just kind of there. I thought maybe she
was
was
after
the really high
Texas
voice.
Chainsaw Massacre. That'd be weird.
Is she in that?
She's in the Next Generation. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation.
Yeah, I think she was supposed to, or she auditioned.
That's my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that also has Matthew McConaughey in it. Also has my favorite Matthew McConaughey role ever.
Is he the chainsaw?
In that movie. Is in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation.
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, whoever wrote that, I wonder if they're a fan of Degrassi. Just like, where did they get the Next Generation?
Oh.
Or they're like a Star Trek fan. I don't know. It's an interesting subtitle, you know?
It is. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh my God, Matthew McConaughey. Oh, robotic leg. That's all I gotta say. It's amazing. Okay. Yes, it's amazing.
I will take your
Matthew
word
McConaughey, if you're watching, it's my favorite of your films, and you should reprise that role.
Now, did he write a book called All Right, All Right?
He's written too many books, and I'm not reading anything of his because his head is so far up his ass, I just can't.
All right.
At this point,
let's start a celebrity feud.
Oh, apparently, it's the oral history of Dazed. But it's a book?
But it's a book.
Oral,
Wait,
huh?
What?
Is it hieroglyphs? I'm so confused.
Hieroglyphs.
All right. So I think the answer, Mark, is no. Have you? Let us know what you learned.
Yeah, what is this thing?
Give us the insights. So one thing that let's do this one first. When reading the Wikipedia page, as I like to do after the fact, after watching the movie and then coming into here, there was one statement it might have even been from Linklater. He was saying that he wanted to make a high school movie that was like the antithesis of a John Hughes movie, where the stakes are just so ridiculously high. And it's life or death, basically, compared to the biggest conflict here. Not even conflict, but plot point is they're going to go get concert tickets. So Is everyone pseudo familiar with the John Hughes style? And if so, how do you feel this movie compares at or succeeds or not at portraying a high school experience up against the John Hughes way of doing so?
Well, this is very interesting because up until right now, I've been wondering like why he chose not to go down the house party route. And the antithesis of John Hughes, you don't have a big fancy house. John Hughes movie are plagued with big fancy houses. So this movie, he's going to set his big party in a field for like
they literally show you the nice house, show you the cool guy, and then go, it's not going to be at the cool guy's nice house.
And every time they cut back to the front door, teenagers knocking and running away from the dad, that's good comedy.
I also love that the dad's outfits are like dated for the time that this is set in. So like he looks kind of silly because like these guys are all in like late 70s stuff, which is like, ringer tees and denim and stuff like that. And this guy's in like his wide collared, like tight fitting plaid leisure suits or whatever. Like,
yeah, he's dressed like he's an Oppenheimer.
Yeah, but like pimp Oppenheimer. Like it was. I love that guy's house, that guy's room. When I was like, let me say this: when I first watched this movie, I didn't realize it was set in a different time period because when I was watching, it was not so far removed from 1993. And 1993, if you watch it, I genuinely think these two time periods, aside from the cars, don't look that different. Like that room was cool when I was a kid. Like that's a cool room. I thought that and to speak to what you were saying about the covering up of the smell, like I think like we said, everybody had their own employments. Yeah. And I have a feeling this guy's life was like, these people did not check in on him that much until they were about to go on vacation and the dad got real strict. Like I felt like I got the vibe like these parents did not watch out over him very much.
I believe that.
Good point.
It's so weird because I feel like I completely know what you mean, that it doesn't feel that far removed from the 90s, because I feel like they don't really show a ton of really dated technology that I would associate with seeing in a movie set in the 70s, like either records. They didn't have cassettes then, did they? No, yeah. I feel like in a movie that
would have been just coming in at that time period. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'd be so used to them seeing them put the LPs on the thing.
Would have had. I bet they had 8-tracks.
What's an 8-track?
Yeah,
that's like that predates the cassette. It's like a really big cassette.
Oh,
it's like beta is to VHS.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, we didn't see that in this movie, so I almost feel
it came
like
first. I guess it's not, but it's like a different. It's a bulkier, weird version.
Yeah,
I've never had to see an 8-track. I'm happy for it. Yeah. But yeah, compared to a John Hughes movie, this definitely, even though I can't really relate to a ton of the things, it feels so much realer, I suppose. Whereas the John Hughes high school experience feels almost like what you want your high school experience to be in some capacity.
Seems more stressful. Like he said, like there's a lot on the line in those movies and people are always worried what other people think. And in this one, I feel like there's a lot more tribe crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's guys who hang out with both groups, girls that hang out with both groups.
Yeah. And I guess enemies become friends towards the end of the film too. And then friends become enemies. Less so, I guess. And Floyd cheats on his girlfriend and suffers no repercussions. But
yeah, that's a weird thing. That's another one that makes me think there was cut footage. Because there is that thing with Joey Lauren Adams later on where they're like saying bye and like you can tell she's like can see like she feels something weird between them. Yeah. Made me feel like there was a cut scene. I don't know. And then we're supposed to just be cool with the other chick who like is her friend.
Yeah.
Question mark? I don't know. I'm like, are you her friend or are you just girls at the same school? So I guess that's for real, like high school life. Like, I don't know. I know you from school. Are we friends? I don't know.
The shade is real, no matter what the decade.
Yeah, like if you end up at a big house party, you're just kind of like, I know you, but I'm not best friends with you. I don't know. I'll save you if you're dying, but like, I don't know what else.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have nothing else to add. So yeah, John Hughes versus this. Both good in their own way. Kind of to ride the coattails of a conversation we had last week about, is Jaws horror? Is this stoner film? We have touched on it, but it's a genre that I'm not super, well, I guess I am kind of familiar with, but what do we feel constitutes a movie being a stoner movie? It's on the Wikipedia page for stoner films, but it's coupled with movies like I mentioned that in my mind are more akin to what I think of when I think of the genre, like a Cheech and Chong movie, for example, or Big Lebowski, or yeah.
So I think that one of the key things back then, maybe not now, but back then, it just had to heavily feature use of it. And so, like, because that just wasn't necessarily okay at the time. And so, even suggesting it or being okay with it or having a character like Slater, like having a character like that in your movie where they aren't the punchline, which he's not at all. I don't ever feel like he's the punchline. Then I think that you're being okay with it is the thing back then. Now, modernly, I think the thing is, like I said, kind of this point in time where it was being prejudiced against. And so looking back at it with modern eyes, it's like this almost like freedom movement. Like, yeah, we're in a different time period now because we did that and we took that stigma away. And like, so like, that's what I think maintains it as that type of film.
That's interesting. Because yeah, I definitely, while watching it, it just kind of felt more or less normal to my 2024 eyes of, okay, yeah, they're at a party and they're smoking the things, and yeah, there it is. Whereas I guess having, if I were to have seen it when it was made, I guess the normalization factor wouldn't have been there and would have played a little differently.
When I first watched it, the year I first watched it, let's say I had decided to imbibe at that time. Had I been caught with anything at all, it would have been like horrible repercussions for my family and myself. Like just life-changing, altering things. Now, it's just legal. It's just legal.
That's a good point. And I think the stoner comedy has suffered from it. But
really?
Yeah, because I think a big part of the stoner comedy is you have a regular person having to deal with a criminal element that they would otherwise not be involved with if they weren't trying to buy pot.
Yeah.
You know, whereas if you watch something like Heat, these guys are all bank robbers. It makes sense why they're hanging out and there's no comedy there.
Yeah.
Except it is still a funny movie. But in the case of, I guess, in something like Pineapple Express or Harold and
I was
Kumar,
just about to say, yeah.
which were, beyond the shadow of a doubt, stoner comedies.
There's still a person who's less of a screw up and more of a screw up.
That's right. And the pot is a driving force in both of these films. Whereas in Dazed and Confused, like we said before, it's just kind of there.
It's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It does play a cultural role, though. Like, specifically, like we said about that line, like, it'd be a lot cooler if you did. Because the kid's like, well, I haven't done it before. Blah, blah, blah. You know, like, it is a key cultural point in the film. It gets brought up. The girls talk about it. The guys talk about it. Like, it is, I feel like it is there enough. And literally, it's part of the whole storyline with Jason London's character and the football team. Like, it is a key point, a key sticking point in. Now, as much as I would say it's a teen movie, as much as it's a stoner flick, like it is very equal. It is a far more digestible teen film than I feel like most teen films are.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's not so saccharine. It's not so focused. What I really, really love, and people have heard me talk about it before, is that this is not focused on a relationship-driven thing. There are relationships, there are romances, there are things like that, but it is not driven by that, and it is not focused on that.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree as well. I almost want to dive into just all the stoner films, not all the stoner films, but I am curious now, like, to see what else kind of exists within the genre, specifically in relation to when whatever respective movie was made. Because that's kind of what I keep coming back to, especially, yeah, like again, watching this movie, it just played to me as a really good film that aged pretty decently. But when I keep on thinking about the fact that this was 93, like the same era when the police officer was coming to my class to like wear a dinosaur shirt and say drugs would kill all of us, it's just so fascinating to see that, like, at the time when it was being so sensationalized for young people that it was evil, that this movie came out just more or less normalizing it and putting it in a context where it very well just could have been alcohol, and at the same time it wasn't causing a ton of harm. It was just like, here are people living their lives, and this is also a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Maybe one day Stoner Month.
Hey,
I'm down.
can I definitely recommend Your Highness, because people hate on that movie, and that movie is amazing.
I don't know what
love
that movie
is. It's a legendary box office bomb.
Yeah, it's called it's James Franco, Seth Rogen, and Natalie Portman.
Oh, okay.
Natalie Portman.
It's a winning trio. I would watch, maybe.
It's amazing.
We'll see. So the other thing I want to talk about was, we've touched on the cast and just the fact that it had a ton of people who eventually went on to become really big deals. Which performance out of those do you find the most interesting? Either because it was good, it wasn't good, or just a case of why is this the poster child now? For me, that's Matthew McConaughey. I went into this expecting it to be fully his movie instead of him just being a weird sort of Mercutio-like supporting character. And if he wasn't Matthew McConaughey, now I would think nothing of him in this movie. Like, why was he the breakout star from this? Or was he the breakout star from something else?
No, he literally, I think because they knew his lines were like good one-liners, but also like he and Mila Jovovich, I feel like got put in the same, like they were attractive. And so like they got pushed to the forward. does Mila Jovovich speak? She sings a little bit, but like she's on every poster for this freaking movie, and it's driven me nuts since the first time I watched it.
It should be
like,
Margaret Posey.
She literally is like, yes, it could be anyone. Of course, it's not the redhead. Of course, it's not the average-bodied, curly-haired redhead who actually has like a lot to, or the freshman chick. No, it's not them. It's Mila Jovovich, who doesn't say a word, who just clings to Brandon Boyd the whole time and just like follows him around. Yeah, I don't know. The whole most interesting thing, her involvement, she's like the Drew Barrymore is to Scream for me with this movie. Is really weird to me.
She's like false advertising.
Yeah, a little bit, but she just wasn't that big at the time. I don't know. She was just a pretty face, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I love Jason London. The Jason London at this point in time is amazing as an actor to me. Like him in this and him in Mallrats. I keep finding a reason to bring up Mallrats, and I don't know how, but it's happening. Yeah, I think he's at this point in time, he's really hot, and not just hot, but like hot, like really good at acting. He's hitting it.
Yeah, I think, like I said, like you said, the redhead, fantastic. I forget what her name is, but she's great.
I don't even know that she's gone on to do a lot. That's the thing.
Well, didn't she go on and she played George Costanza's mom on Seinfeld?
Stop it.
What?
No.
That's not even
that's not her.
That's like at the time period. Stop.
You mean the teenager in the movie?
Sorry. No, it's stupid. Maybe someone in the comments will laugh. One day, someone will watch this live stream and be like, oh, that was kind of fun.
Like, what?
Alex would probably get it.
Hang on. I want to talk about that one guy, not the Ben Affleck, but the other guy who's like kind of a villainous character.
Yeah, he went on to do a lot.
Did he? I know he was sassing. He was sassing Matthew McConaughey about his hot rod earlier in the film, and then that one scene where he gets really upset that someone commented that he's smoking pot, and he tears his shirt off and like tries to start a fight. That's. I think that was a brilliant.
Oh, that guy!
I don't know if he was instructed to overact, but that was
I thought you
great.
meant the redhead. I thought you meant the redhead guy. No, that guy.
Oh no, the cowboy type of guy? No, not him.
I thought you meant the one who got the stuff dumped on him, the violent paddler.
Oh, wasn't?
Oh, about the redhead. I think she's related to Giovanni Ribisi because her last name's Ribisi and her face looks a lot like him.
Oh.
So I have a feeling. I haven't directly checked that out, but yes, her name.
Oh,
is
she was in the
Ribisi.
Brady Bunch movie. Hold on, I have her Wikipedia page pulled up.
Yeah. But I remember watching it, and at the end they were showing everybody, and I was like, "Oh, Ribisi, that's not a common last name."
And yeah, I'm surprised that the guy who played Mitch didn't do more because I found him the most engaging. Maybe it's because he was the most consistent character, but
yeah, Mitch played drunk really good.
Yeah,
like, didn't overdo it, but you could tell that he was tanked.
Gee, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that kid plays drunk really well.
I thought he was for me, he carried the movie. Like, he's the one that I found the most engaging. And I think that is
it had a very Freaks and Geeks effect.
Yes.
I felt like it really made it, like, that's what I think I'm saying. Like, I watched it in middle school and I was like, oh, there's a middle schooler in this movie. Oh my God. Like, that was pretty amazing. You don't get a lot of middle schooler movies where, like, they get to hang out with cooler kids. It's just like middle school, like Lizzie McGuire stuff, you know?
Good point.
Although we do love Lizzie McGuire, though.
I love a Lizzie McGuire, but Lizzie McGuire turning into a stoner right before high school.
Oh,
beautiful.
Of course.
That'd be the best.
Even though, no, it would have been Miranda, though. Miranda would have turned into the stoner in that friend group. And
Miranda
Gordo would have been selling it.
Yeah. Yeah, Miranda and Gordo existing in the same world was a bi-awakening for me, for sure. Yeah. That was definitely a thing.
And it's such a shame we'll never get that Lizzie McGuire reboot that they promised us with Disney.
Oh my God, it was so close.
I know.
Was so close.
They shot stuff, and we'll never get to see it.
Was it the pandemic? What happened?
No, it was creative differences, and Hilary Duff was very much, and I agree with her, in favor of making it a show for the people that are her age that grew up with Lizzie. So, like, making it.
Oh, right. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, like a 30-ish year old living.
Not like Girl Meets World, where they tried to make it about a daughter, not about.
Yeah,
so no, they didn't want her acknowledging sex, basically, or like a divorce. Because I think that was another thing as well, and I think that would have been a really good show, especially paired with a little animated conscience character as well. Like, having that navigating adult problems, I think would have been fascinating. But Disney was too scared to do it, so they pulled it. Sadly,
awful.
Yeah. I know.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Me too. As like a peak millennial, would have been so good. But whatever, it's fine. Anything else we want to discuss with this movie?
I just want to, I don't know if you two agree with me, but there are three characters who feel very much like Richard Linklater insert characters. One obviously being Mitch, who's young Linklater. Then there's Jack London, who's Linklater if he was a cool guy in high school, when he like tries to look back on that. Then you have Anthony Rapp, who's closer to the real Linklater, who's like, honestly, kind of feels like a Redditor's fantasy character. Because like he's kind of a nerdy guy who criticizes society. He goes against the grain. He gets the girl at the end. But like you said, Jeanette, it's a little creepy, but like at least they're both in high school at the time. I don't know. All three of these characters feel like different facets of Linklater. And I think that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I was just thinking that as the film went on.
Yeah. I think that just speaks to one of the strengths of the movie from my perspective is how it weaves together all the different generations like really well. So I do think there is room, whether consciously or unconsciously, for Linklater to insert versions of himself at different stages in his life, or like who he would have liked to have been. Yeah.
And you know what, to me, this is a bit of a different thing, but this film succeeds in a way that Boyhood didn't. I don't know if either of you have seen Boyhood.
Because it didn't take 20 years to make this movie?
That's right. That feels like the big, the big deal about it is how long it took to make, which is impressive. And I like the ending. I like that his boyhood ends when he does his first shroom trip. I appreciate that. That makes sense to me. It's not the same with everyone, obviously, but I'm like, oh, Linklater, you did it. Everything was rough, but he stuck the ending there. Anyway, I think this movie is probably his best. Slacker's good, but it's not as good as this. Slacker's kind of fun.
You have to see before sunrise, sunset, and midnight.
Yeah.
I gotta rewatch
I gotta
Scanner
watch
Darkly because I didn't know he had done that, and I haven't watched that in years. I gotta rewatch that.
That's the animated one. The
partially, it's like overlaid.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't that Waking Life too?
Oh, that's Waking Life. Sorry.
Yeah.
But no, Scanner Darkly has like weird overlay animation on the acting.
I forgot. I also really liked Waking Life. That was pretty good. But that's in a league of its own, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to get into some of his other stuff. Just a weird little tidbit. If you are on iTunes and you go to download these soundtracks, the majority of the songs are not available to you on the soundtracks, at least in America. I don't know about there. Only about 3 songs on each soundtrack because it's a dual soundtrack thing because there's so many songs. But if you look up all those songs independently, they're available independently. So don't know why they're grayed out on the soundtracks that become available. It's very, I don't know. It was a weird thing because for this thing, I was like, oh, let me get the soundtracks. I'm going to listen to everything.
I'm assuming it has to do with ridiculous licensing things for Sweden.
Yeah. Licensing is weird.
I thought, because I looked up all the songs independently and you can get them all independently, like if you just search them on their own. So I thought that was really weird. I don't know. It doesn't help the livelihood of this movie.
I'm sure, like on Spotify, there must be playlists, but it's not the same.
I'm sure, yes. But yeah, I'm an iTunes girl, and
fair enough.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. Aside from that, one of the things I noticed when I was watching this was that I felt probably for the only time that I can remember thinking in recent history that this movie is unencumbered by cinematography. Like they literally are just shooting the characters other than the scenes when they're beating the kids, literally. Like, other than when they're beating the boys with the paddles, they are just shooting the characters. And I really love that. Because like most movies when I'm sitting there, I'm trying to think about this for this show. I'm trying to think about cinematography and stuff like that. And I just, every time I would start to try to think about it, it would go away, but not in a negative way. I was just like, it's a non-point. Really, to me. I'm sure whoever's the cinematographer on this film would not like to hear that. But I just feel like it's so seamless and it doesn't matter, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, and I think that also feels very Linklater characteristic. Like when I think to the before movies, which are the ones that I know the best, it is really, well, the cinematography doesn't draw attention to itself so much so that it does, because there are a lot of shots where they're just talking and like they're extended takes. So eventually you clue in like, wow, they haven't cut yet. That's like good for the cinematographer, pulling focus, going through all these spaces. But I think, one of his strengths that I love is everything is very much just focused on what's happening in front of the camera as opposed to creating visual art.
Yeah. Whereas, so like just to draw a comparison to what I'm specifically talking about, like people like Aronofsky who are they just have people interacting, but the cinematography is such a huge part of it. Like there's just 2 people talking, but the cinematography is like a whole other character. And in this one, it's like it's not, and it doesn't need it.
Yeah. Agreed.
I agree. That definitely works to the film's advantage.
Yeah, I also think it adds I don't want to use the word gritty, but it adds a realism to it that
it makes it more stoner flicky.
Oh, is that
you're not there's maybe I feel like that's another point of them. I don't think cinematography is ever a huge role in those films.
Good point.
I know. Well, the go-to stoner movie that I would think of that I personally really enjoy is Reefer Madness the musical, and there's a lot of good cinematography.
The 90s one?
Yeah,
that's pretty funny. Bell. Yeah.
Except that's its own thing. That's totally its own thing. It
is, but that was like a huge, I remember that being a huge thing when I was coming up too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And just as a musical, it's a really good musical.
Yeah.
I've seen it on stage and I think the film is really good, but yeah, I would say I think that's the exception to the cinematography rule, but overall, yeah, I can see that. Just simplicity. The simplicity is good. On the topic of Richard Linklater, kind of not super related to what we're talking about, but has anyone heard about the movie he's making with Ben Platt? Ben Platt? Ben Platt.
No.
No?
I'm
So,
very on the fence with Ben Platt.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? What do you do?
I don't know.
I mean, he's annoying and he's a Nepo baby, so I can, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I watch him act, it's a little bit of like a.
Oh, fair. So, Linklater.
I've never heard of him.
No? He's Dear
No.
Evan Hansen. He's that guy. He's the
Oh,
guy.
okay.
But he was also in some Ryan Murphy show that I watched, and that's where I mainly got a lot of exposure. And I was
Yeah,
like,
his dad is Mark Platt, who produces like some of the biggest things that happen. But Ben is very talented. So not
He
to say
is.
that, but like I'm sure
yeah.
he got a little boost, but either way. So Linklater is making a movie that I dreamed of making for years. And I thought I'll never be able to do this because Sondheim or his estate will never give me the rights. But Linklater, in partnership with Ben Platt and Beanie Feldstein, are making a film of Sondheim's Merrily We Roll Along, which is a musical that I adore. Is anyone familiar on screen? No?
I know of the title. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so the concept of Merrily We Roll Along is that it's tracking the like professional and personal friendship and relationships surrounding three people essentially in New York in starts in like the 50s basically, and it's told chronologically but backwards, and it spans 25 years. So you meet them when they're like old and jaded and they hate everything and they've had horrible like personal lives because they've been corrupted by money, and you meet them like when they're in their 40s, and then each scene moves backwards through time, and then the last scene is them when they're like in their early 20s meeting for the first time. They're optimistic, they're like, we're best friends and we're going to make the best art ever, we're going to change the world, and then you cry because you're like, oh, life is horrible. So anyway, it spans that length of time. I was like, it would be so crazy if I could make a film over the course of 25 years with the same actors aging naturally. And I thought, I can never do that. But you know who is? Richard Linklater. So they've started shooting Merrily We Roll Along, and it has 17 years left to go.
With Beanie Feldstein? Is she
Beanie
acting in it?
Yeah. So so the core three people are Beanie Feldstein, Ben Platt, and Paul Mescal. Now, Paul Mescal replaced the guy that they originally cast. They originally cast I can't remember his name, but he's not great. He was married to the girl who played Supergirl, and he like abused her and threw an iPhone at her, and she was so she came out with that news, and they were like, well, we should probably restart Merrily We Roll Along now because we can't work with him for another 25 years. So they shot the first two scenes of the film with him, then they replaced him and they had to go back and do it again. So yeah, Ben Platt and Beanie Feldstein are aging gracefully in a Sondheim movie that will come out in 17 or 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I had the idea first, but I did not have the money or the connections to make it happen.
Waka waka.
Oh, so Ben Platt did a concert and they sold. That's sad and funny.
What?
He put over 80% of the house at Massey Hall. No. That's wow. Well, hopefully more people we roll along. Did you go, Mark? Did you see Ben? Did you get a comp? Let us know. Maybe. Oh, poor Ben, but also not poor Ben. He has a Tony Award and a lot of money, so he's going to do just fine. And he's making Merrily We Roll Along, my dream project. So good for him. Good for him. All right, let's go on to the game. Tonight's a little bit different because Jeanette is our game master for tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
So tonight we're going to be playing a game called Buds or Beer, or Beer or Buds. So I'm going to tell you a name, and you need to tell me if it's a strain of bud or a type of beer.
Ooh, how fun.
I love it.
Yes.
Ooh, wait,
what's up? Yeah.
I was going to say, how are you picturing us locking in our answers? Because if you don't have an idea, I was going to say you can like count us down, and if we think it's bud, we can do this, and if we think it's beer, we can do this.
You can do either one, but I think I was going to let each of you choose and then just have you both tell me and
Okay.
then take a point for each person.
I think we should do hand gestures, Vince. Vince, are you on board?
Hand gestures are great.
I'm always down for a hand gesture. Let's do it.
Let's go. Okay.
All right, let me get my little point thing here. Okay. First one is purple monkey dishwasher.
Okay.
Purple monkey dishwasher.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna.
All right. We both have our answers locked in. Incorrect.
Yeah.
It is a beer.
What?
Yeah,
Damn it.
that is a beer.
What does it taste
All right.
like? Is it purple?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Where's
I
it
had to look
available?
these up.
Yeah. Where do we get it?
Right? We'll have to look it up. This will be unpaid advertising for all of these beer
Hold on, I'm googling it. Purple
monkey dishwasher.
We have flying monkey in Canada, which is a type of beer.
Yeah.
Yes, we have flying monkey here too, I believe.
You do. What? Oh, I thought it was a Canadian thing, or maybe it is, and we just sent it to you. Okay.
Maybe.
Brewed in Barrie, Ontario, I believe.
Nice.
All right. Number 2. 3 gorillas. 3 gorillas.
Yeah.
Incorrect. That is
my
a bud.
God.
Oh, I pictured like a delicious banana beer flavored stout. Banana
Right?
beer.
There is a
Yes.
very good banana beer here out of Maryland from Jailbreak Brewery. All right. Next one. White zombie.
Oh, it's a
White zombie.
It's a. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
one of us is getting a point.
One of you is right, and it's Matt.
Ah!
A bud.
Good one.
Thank you.
White zombie. Is
Like,
that
what
one of those?
beer would that be, Vince? I can't imagine drinking a white zombie. That sounds like a cocktail at most.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's a
I was
band.
getting a little mixed up.
It's very good. It's very good. Well, it used to be a band. It's a good band.
White zombie.
Yes. All right. Next one. Sweet Jesus. Sweet Jesus. Correct on both accords.
Thank God.
That threw me off because we have an ice cream franchise, at least in Ontario, called Sweet Jesus. So when I hear that, I think of really impressive ice cream.
Ooh, that sounds
But
yummy.
if Sweet Jesus was an alcohol, it would be wine and not beer. So
This is true.
that influenced my decision.
This is true. All right. Next one. Ninja dust.
Oh, it's
Ninja dust. Incorrect.
It's
That is
too
a beer.
obvious.
who would drink dust?
Where does the dust? There's nothing. There's nothing refreshing about dust.
Exactly.
Okay. These names are just great. I just really love all these names. All right. Next one. Unicorn piss.
Oh,
Unicorn
this is.
piss.
Mm.
No. I'm standing my ground here. It's a brewski.
No, it's one of these. It's
All
a
right.
smoky.
One of you is right, and
Smoky.
it's Matt.
Would you want to drink something called unicorn piss, Vince?
I
you
wouldn't
know
wanna
what?
smoke
I bet
it
you there's a
either.
beer called that too, and I just didn't find that one first.
Good luck smoking something that's wet. I don't like
You know why it's called.
smoking a fluid. That's something else. That's vaping.
Oh my gosh. All right. Next one is Space Station Middle Finger. Space Station Middle Finger.
It's a-
I
Then,
don't know. I don't even know anymore.
Okay.
incorrect. It is a beer.
Why?
Dude, the label's whack too. It's wild.
Space and beer do not go together.
No.
Oh, there's so many space named beers. So many.
Is that Clue?
I don't know. No, not really, because there's a lot of space named buds too. Oh my gosh. Oh, speaking of, here's another one. Yoda's brain. Yoda's brain.
It has to be. It has to be. It has to be. Has to be.
Matt, you were right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Here is another one. Tactical nuclear penguin. Tactical nuclear penguin.
I don't know what it is, but I want it. Drink.
Matt, you are right.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm googling it right now. Wait, it was tactical
Nuclear penguin.
tactical nuclear. Oh, this looks good. Hold on.
I don't even know what the flavor is. I looked up lack beer names.
Okay, so it appears to be a dark beer. It's a stout, so we like that. Hold on.
Is it a high ABV? With a name like that, it better have a high ABV.
32%.
No, that can't be. That's almost vodka.
It says 32%.
That's no
Holy-
way.
That's what it
my
says.
god.
Hold on. Stop everything.
That'll knock you right out. Good lord.
That can't be right. Well,
Stop
that's what
it.
it says.
No,
though.
it's a 10%. It's 10%.
It says 32 on the
No.
days I'm on.
Why is it that weed is illegal in some states, but you can drink that?
You could drink a penguin.
It's
at
10%. It's 10%. It does look amazing. It looks scrumptious. It looks very brown in color. It's delicious looking. It says it's thick, oily, blackstrap molasses.
Although even 10%
Delicious. That's still high. It's high. Okay. All right. Next, the next one is Booger Cat Brown. Booger Cat Brown. Vince, you're right.
Yes.
Good job, Vince.
Yes. Nobody likes brown weed.
Okay. All right. Next one is Turbo Space Cake. Turbo Space Cake.
No.
You're both right.
Yes.
All right. Oh, yeah, we're at 2, 4, 6. Okay. Next one. 11 Roses. 11 Roses.
No,
Both wrong.
Oh.
Damn.
All right.
One of those genetic hybrids. They spliced the dope with a rose.
Right. All right. Next one. Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue.
I'm going to say it's a beverage, but
Yes.
that you're drinking the actual Gorilla Glue. That's my vote.
You're both wrong. It's actually a very well-known strain of bud.
What?
Oh.
Yes.
What is it just
Is
a
it?
coincidence that has the same name as the glue, or is there like a correlation there?
I think they named it that after the glue existed. So, yeah. Maybe it smells like it or something. I don't know. It's just good.
Okay.
Maybe it's like huffing glue. I don't know.
Good.
Okay. And let's see. I'm just gonna give you all of them. All right. Bitter Woman. Bitter Woman. You're both right.
Yes.
Okay, let's call this next one the last one. And then I have bonus ones if we need them.
Yes.
Let's see. Big Boy Pants. Big Boy Pants.
No, it's a.
Vince, what do you think?
No, it's a drink. It's got to be a beer.
Vince, you got it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. All right. On this last one, Matt, you have
Ooh, how
7
fun.
points.
Okay.
Vince, you have 5 points. How
Wow.
many do we want to wager?
3.
Then I will wager 3 as well.
4.
I'm going to wager all of it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sticking with my 4.
Okay. All right. This last one is Cherry Godmother. Cherry Godmother.
I'm drinking that.
That's weed,
Matt, you
baby.
got it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. But the cherry, it's the part of the
I
joint that's lit.
know.
Oh,
really?
And Godmother is
Yeah.
is a name, and Cherry and Godmother are names of other strains. Like they are their
Yeah.
own things.
Oh, I just heard it and thought that sounds like a really nice cherry
But no,
pilsner.
that is-
I want it.
That is a beer. I don't know
Wow.
what type. I'm actually going to look it back up right now. But
Better be
Matt, you
cherry
are
flavor.
our winner.
Yay!
Back in my day, there was one type of weed. It was whatever the guy had. Sometimes he'd lie to you and say it tastes like strawberry.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. When I was
That's
growing,
it.
like now, I get on a website while I'm lying in bed and go, "What do I want?" And there's a menu with like 80 things.
And you have no idea what any of them are.
It's great. I love it.
Oh, what a time to be alive, though. That was a great
We
game,
fought
Jeanette.
for this.
That was so much fun.
This movie was signs that we fought for. We fought for it, and we won our freedom.
Good point.
Cherry Godmother is a sour. It's a Berliner Weiss from Shoe Tree Brewing Company.
Wow. Are they the sponsor of today's show?
Yes.
I wish. Chime in, Shoe Tree Brewing Company. Would you like to sponsor this show?
Or would the Cherry Godmother virtual assistants like to sponsor this show? Because apparently they're a separate thing and they're based out of the Philippines. And that's what comes up when I Google them. Yeah. Ooh.
Just for all of our interested viewers. Yes, you can find all of these brews on untapped.com.
And find them, we will. All right, friends. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for introducing me to this movie. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would maybe even watch it again, and maybe one day I will. During the summer, though. It's definitely a summer movie.
Yes.
So, yes. Well, speaking of summer movies, we'll be back next week with another movie that is probably the least summary of all the films that we've watched thus far, but the most summary because it's the most fun. Next week is Grease.
Yeah, because
yeah.
technically most of it happens during school.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's like the inciting incident is summer.
Beginning and end.
Exactly.
Summer.
And those are the
Summer
parts. Those are the parts of the film that people enjoy most. Looking back, I think
Yeah, the beginning and the end.
the beginning and the end.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it next week.
we will. Are you here next week? Are you joining us for Grease Fins?
I kind of do want to join you guys for Grease. I think I can squeeze y'all in.
Yes, please
So
do.
put-
Please do.
Put me on the thumbnail.
Yes, I will. You'll be the only other T-Bird joining me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Oh.
Matt's present or Alex's presence is very much missed, and so is Lisa. Oh my God, where's she been?
Where's Lisa?
Right?
Lisa can't. Lisa, do you know what Lisa would have to say about this movie?
I don't know. I don't want
I-
to speak on her behalf.
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking maybe
I'm
not.
gonna get in
Maybe
trouble.
not kind things.
Probably
Wait,
not.
Grease is Grease.
It's a lot of degradation of women in this film, I'd say.
Good point. And not enough queer content, I should say.
Fair,
Yeah,
fair.
no.
I will speak on her behalf there.
Agreed.
If she ever watches it, I would love to hear what she has to say.
Daisy
I'll tell her to
too.
leave a comment.
Yes, please do. Please do. Well, with that, friends, it is that time. Please. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, no. Tell everyone who you are, where they can find you, but also pair it with your closing thoughts on the film, because we didn't do that, but I've already gone down this road. So here we go. Closing thoughts on the film, plus all the things about you. We'll start with Vince.
Hey, it's a good movie. You should watch it. I like it a lot. You know, every now and then I go back at a different stage of my life and I'm like, hey, this is a good movie. The older I get, it stays the same, but it's different too. Oh, we didn't talk about the mom with the shotgun, who I very much appreciated on this viewing. She's awesome. What a woman. My name's Vince. I run a channel called Only Time Will Tell at Vinny Ridge Media on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Rumble. I got Threads, TikTok Notes. It's all the same link. Just follow me. You know, what are you even doing if you haven't already? See ya!
See ya!
Hello. Yeah. I think that no matter what point in your life you are, you should watch this movie if you haven't yet, and if you haven't in a few years, you should check it out again. Because I think that it appeals to a lot of people. I don't know. I had a lot of fun watching it, and it helped me grow up. So, yeah, you can find me on Instagram at TinkerJ787. You can find me here every week that I can. I'll be here next week for Grease because that was one of my picks.
And
I'm
it is the
excited.
word. Grease is the
It
word.
is the word. Yes. It's the word that you heard. Yeah, I'm not going to keep saying that song. I'm going to stop there. And you can find me on We Like Theme Parks podcast with a new episode every Thursday or a new episode today because there wasn't one last week. So you should check it out.
Yay!
So check it out. See
We
you
shall.
next week.
Thanks, Jeanette. And if you're watching, this is my channel. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees. And thank you for joining us for Dazed and Confused Week. Thank you to those who suggested this movie. I think it was both Vince and Jeanette. So yeah, glad I watched it. Super excited to come back next week to talk about Grease, because Grease is the time, it's the place, it's the motion. Grease is the way we are feeling. Yeah, I saw my problem. Next week, there's going to be a lot of singing. Brace yourself for it. And just get ready for a good time. We love the 50s. Okay, we're done now. Thank you, everyone. My name is Matt, 2 degrees. Teacup out. How do you end this?